The tragic tale of Brainiac is one that explores how loss, guilt, and the unrelenting pursuit of perfection is the product of incomprehensible grief. Once a proud, methodical being from the planet Colu, Brainiac was defined by his intellect, his commitment to his job, and his deep love for his family. He was a normal man with a 9-to-5 job, no different than any other average person. On Colu, Brainiac had a job as an information and technology collector. He would go to other planets and gather information about them before coming back to his planet. He also had a family, a wife and a son that he clearly cared for. If he could list one problem with his life, it would be the fact that he could not spend as much time with his family as he would like because of his job. This would of course change as he was going to be promoted. Instead of traveling to other planets for work, he could stay, and this would allow him to spend more time with his family.
Hold that position. I want to generate a memory.
The song we were betrothed to.
This will be our last download before you begin your new occupation with the Coluian government.
It is not every axial revolution that your husband gets promoted, and now you no longer have to travel for work.
I am relieved I no longer have to leave to get cigarettes. I am going out for cigarettes one last time, then I shall quit.
Soon you will have many allotments to be with Father.
We will discourse when I return.
But fate, as it often does, tore this perfect world apart. Brainiac was sent on a final mission to obtain the Hyper Ray, a shrinking weapon from another planet before being promoted. This would be what saved him and destroyed him. Upon his return, Brainiac was devastated to find Colu reduced to a complete wasteland. The loss of his wife and son, the people he had cherished and built a future for, shattered his very sense of purpose. His beloved planet, the cornerstone of his life's work, was gone, obliterated without warning. Unable to accept that this destruction could be a random act of fate, Brainiac fixated on a single, all-consuming belief, that Colu's imperfections had doomed it. As a being governed by logic, he was convinced that the destruction of his planet was not due to some external force or malevolent will, but because Colu was flawed. Somewhere, in the grand order of things, Colu had not been perfect enough to escape destruction.
You will journey to Brainiac, an inhabited planet with a possession of a weapon known as the Hyper Ray, which has the ability to decrease the size of both organic and inorganic matter.
Satisfactory to know none has come close to Colu's 99%.
And
Lock as screensaver. The analysis and acquisition is complete. Coco, let us return home. Impossible. Wife, Vril 2. I cannot receive any input. I will never again have a home.
with your new position, you can finally fix that 1%.
1% is such an insignificant amount, a variable hardly worth acknowledgement. If only I had recognized the significance of that 1%. I shall forever drift in the cosmos, raging against imperfection.
You always want to destroy the things you do not understand.
This conviction was the seed that would grow into his twisted obsession with perfection. Driven by guilt and despair, Brainiac embarked on a journey to find and perfect other civilizations across the universe. Using his hyper-ray, he would shrink entire cities, preserving them in suspended animation, as though freezing them in time, and hang them like grotesque trophies in his ship. His ship became a dark gallery of trophies, each one representing a civilization he had sought to perfect, yet each one also symbolizing his ultimate failure. No city, no matter how near perfect, could bring back the family he had lost. The very act of perfecting these cities became his way of coping with the incomprehensible pain of losing his own. By making other civilizations flawless, Brainiac desperately hoped to prove that the downfall of Colu was not because of some cosmic cruelty, but rather because his home was not perfect enough.
Planet with possibility. This municipality is near complete actualization. Citizens are lucky, Coco. Thanks to us, they will not have to face the suffering. It is perfect. Time will destroy its perfection, Coco. But we cannot freeze time. Or can we? Finally, the universe has revealed my destiny. Another axial revolution, another world.
Each tiny, preserved city in his ship was a desperate plea for a visual representation of a universe that was, in his mind, governed by absolute perfection. The trophies were not merely the remnants of the cities themselves, but also a reflection of Brainiac's ever-widening mental fracture. The only companion left to Brainiac was his loyal pet monkey, Colu. Once a living, breathing creature, Colu had served as a silent witness to Brainiac's descent into madness. Over time, Colu too grew old and passed away, leaving behind only skeletal remains. But in Brainiac's broken mind, Colu remained by his side, an unspoken companion amidst the vast loneliness that enveloped him. Despite the passage of time, he refused to acknowledge his solitude, still whispering to an empty space, convinced that Colu's spirit had never truly left him. His ship, haunted by both the ghosts of his past and the whispers of his own delusions, became a prison of memories and broken dreams.
Colu, you transgressor. Acceptable. One very astute, Colu. Of course. Admonish. Come, Colu. Let us be useful. Our work has just begun. I wonder what Colu is doing at present. Colu? Colu?
Is Colu that pile of dead monkey bones? Buddy, what is going on here? Oh.
Brainiac's pursuit of perfection, driven by the unbearable void left by Colu's destruction, reflects a deeper truth about the nature of his broken soul. He could never accept the randomness of his loss, and thus he sought control over the universe in the only way he knew how: through domination, through perfecting, through freezing the passage of time. Yet the more he pursued this illusion of perfection, the more he became trapped within it. The cities he perfected were never enough. His loneliness and the crushing weight of his failure were always waiting for him when the trophies had been hung. He had come to represent the very thing that had broken him, an obsession with control and perfection that only deepened his isolation.
No matter how many municipalities I save, there is no sense of challenge. Perhaps I have outlived my usefulness. Non-viable. This is the most unadvanced civilization I have ever encountered. This would be quite the challenge.
His inability to accept the imperfections of his own life led him to inflict the same suffering he endured upon countless others. In a universe of infinite chaos and uncertainty, Brainiac sought to impose his version of perfection, only to find that the very thing he sought could never replace the love and meaning he had lost. His journey, born of the pain of losing everything he loved, became a never-ending spiral of cruelty and futility, until all that remained were the silent trophies of a broken heart.